Schaefer here with Sam Schaefer Numismatics, and today this is going to be a really different and kind of interesting video, I hope. I am going to be opening an original bank-wrapped roll of Walking Liberty half dollars. So I think this might be appealing for some of you roll hunters. If you can imagine, it's kind of like a dream find, right? To find an original mint state roll of these Walking Liberty half dollars. Now this roll is a roll of 1945s, 45 plains, and it is from the Chicago, Illinois National Bank. We purchased these from a customer who had several original rolls, and I do believe that this one, along with the other rolls that we purchased, were all put aside in, or they were taken from the bank in 1945 and stored ever since. So the very last year of World War II. Now the Walking Liberty design is one of the most popular in numismatics. It's one of the most beautiful. It was designed by Adolf Weinmann, a German sculptor, and the Walking Liberty design debuted in 1916 and circulated all the way, or was minted through 1946, and then 1947, and then in 48 we switched over to the Franklin half dollar. So it's kind of exciting. You don't see original rolls of Walking Liberties very often, and there is some of you might curse me in the comments and say, you should sell it as it is, and that's always a possibility. They do bring pretty tremendous premiums, just kept original. But I am going to be sending in, and I'm actually have 2 bulk lots of these I'm sending in, so we're going to be getting back a lot of nice Walking Liberty coins. So I'm gonna take. I'm going to roll the dice and see what we get here. And I think that will be the fun of the video, is seeing if we get any coins in this original roll of Walking Liberties that are going to be worth submitting, to get the high, to possibly get a very high grade. Now, they're going to be worth submitting to me because I'm sending them in a bulk submission, which is one of the services that I offer as a PCGS and NGC authorized dealer. If you have uncirculated coins, and let's say you have 100 or more of them, you can submit them through me to the grading companies, either one, to get a significantly reduced rate on those submission fees. So sometimes, you might see some slabs on the internet that are priced cheaper than the normal cost of grading, and that's why, because of the bulk submission rate, but it requires 100 coins. So we're going to go ahead and open up this roll now and see what we've got, and hopefully I can get some better views. So we'll start out first with our end toner here, which isn't really all that end roll toned. It's pretty dull, but it's pretty crisp too. So this is a pretty nice coin. Really nice cartwheel luster on both sides. And I certainly have no issue considering this coin to be of gem quality. There is, some marks on the breast there, and that is basically just from, at some point, being pressed up against another coin. So, that one's a little crusty looking. And I'm going to go ahead and set the phone down and see if I can make this a little more stable. Alright, here's the second coin. And this one, let's see. Pardon me, I'm going to pause this. Okay, folks, sorry about that. I wanted to get the camera in a better position first so that we could actually get a good look at these things. So the second coin looks pretty nice. The key to grading Walking Liberties is going to be the there's a couple little points of emphasis, and I'm going to point this out. So, just a second here. So the points of emphasis when you're grading Walking Liberties is and this is the spot you're going to see wear oftentimes, is kind of in the center region. And it's also going to be usually a little weakly struck through here too. So, again, here's a spot on the breast, and that's not due to wear, that's just from being pressed up against another coin, but it does somewhat factor into the grade. And you also have, along the leg, you get what's called annealing chatter, which is when the planchet hardens, there's often some roughness to the metal. Jefferson nickels actually get this a lot on the jawline. So if there's a lot of annealing chatter, that's not going to be good for the grade. And also the thumb. If the thumb is fully struck, that is going to be a benefit to the grade. That's going to be a well-struck coin. But the biggest thing with Walking Liberty grading is going to be making sure that the surfaces are just very clean and crisp. So this coin definitely would qualify as a gem example. There's really minimal issues with it. There's not really any chatter in the field that stands out significantly. There's no real points of contact. The sun is another place that often shows some marks. So, it's a pretty high quality coin, potentially an MS66, I would say. That's coin number 3. This coin is quite a bit baggier. It's got a lot of flash, but you can see out in the right field lots of bag marks. And that's, one of the issues that you're going to have with these, or really with any, bigger silver coins. They got stored in canvas bags. As soon as they came off the press, they're going to be going into a hopper and clinging against other coins. So, gosh, the luster on this is absolutely beaming, but those with that much contact in the right field, I'm going to say this coin's probably like a 63. Moving on to the 4th coin in the roll. And this coin is pretty nice. Again, really nice, flashy example. It really, the luster on these almost has like a wet look to it. Like, it looks like the coin just came out of water. Very, very flashy. Does have a pretty sizable mark on the breast there, but again, not much annealing chatter. It looks like you got most of a thumb there. The coin's pretty clean. The back of Walking Liberties usually, they don't show the marks as much. You got to look on the eagle's breast to see how well it's struck. There's sometimes some weakness in there. You sometimes do get some good marks in on the wings and up in the protected areas, but really it's the front of the coin that always seems to take the biggest pounding. So I like that coin. I think that is probably a 66, at least a shot 66. 65, I think, would be the floor. Now this coin, just coin number 5, does have some chatter in the right field, and also it has a hit on the sun. Again, another spot on the breast. It's got some spot down there on the leg. So this coin is fairly average. The luster's really nice, which of course the luster is nice on most of these. Now the luster can be worse on some of the dates earlier in the series, but coins in the 40s are usually well made. So I think that coin's probably a 63, maybe 64. Coin number 6. This coin is pretty baggy out in the right field, and it's got a lot of haze on it too. You got some chatter up there above the sun, and the mark on the breast isn't too bad. You also have quite a bit of chatter on the leg, that annealing chatter that I mentioned. Check the reverse, and yeah, that's this coin. You got a little bit of bag marks up there above the pluribus. Coin's like a 63, 64. Nothing too exciting there. Hoping we can get one in here that's you know, a 67. That's where we obviously would love to be. So this one is actually pretty nice, except you know, it's got a really nice clean right field, but then you have that little tick mark that's above the sun there. So that's, you know, all it takes is one focal mark on the coin, and you're already going to be dropping out of the range of those really high grades. Back is really nice. So I'd say that's a 64, maybe a 65. That's the only mark that really pops out. Okay, the next coin we have what I like to call a railroad track out here in the right field. And by railroad track, I mean a line of reed marks. So that's kind of the worst form of bag marks. That's when the reeds on the edge of the coin impact into another coin. So at such a high, they hit it hard enough to actually indent into the coin and cause those marks. So, you know, little ticks and dings from bag marks are inevitable, but when you get a bad reed mark where there's a full indentation of the reeds, that's pretty bad. So, you know, I think one big reed mark out in the field like that, you're probably looking at a 64. The rest of the coin is pretty nice. Maybe they 65 it, but that's absolutely, you know, the top on a coin like that. Next coin here is we're getting about halfway through the roll. This coin's pretty baggy. So, you know, there's a lot of issues going on with this coin. You've got bag marks, and you also have some what we call milk spots, or some brown spots on it. And those spots are just going to be inevitable when you're having a coin that's not stored in a good airtight container. You know, these coins were stored in an underground safe in these paper rolls. So that's going to allow moisture to get in. That's going to allow the coins to tone. So, you know, if you have coins in your collection that you really want to avoid getting any kind of toning or spots on, make sure that you're storing them in a very climate neutral space. Back is pretty nice, but you know, once you get a good collection of marks like that, and also, you know, those brown spots are not going to help the grade. Now, dipping the coin will remove those spots, and that's something for another video that I will explain, because that is something that most people do not understand. You know, what dipping is and how it can actually be beneficial when it's done properly. So this coin here is great luster, but it does have some issues. It's got a really bad reed mark there, just above and off to the left of "In God We Trust." That's pretty bad. You also have some marks on the sun. It looks like you've got some fingerprints on the coin from when, you know, the Federal Reserve worker actually put it into the roll. So, not a great one. So we're kind of getting some not such good luck in the middle part of the roll here. We're getting a lot of 3s and 4s. So, you know, so far, you know, you question, was it worth it? You know, we've got a couple that are shot 66s, but most of these coins are in the 3 to 4 range. So hopefully we get some luck here at the end. This is another coin that not exceptionally nice as far as, you know, there's a lot of marks in the right field, a little bit of chatter on the sun. You got a really pretty strong mark on the breast. And the back is pretty nice, but you do have just a very little bit of chatter, it looks like, to the left of the eagle's beak. But the thing about the reverse of coins, reverses can only hurt you. They're not going to help you. You can have an MS69 reverse and an MS60 obverse, and they're not going to average those to a 65. It just doesn't work that way. It's mostly about the obverse. Okay, now as we're getting to the end, this is actually, oh geez, now it's an MS60. No, I'm just kidding. This coin's actually not bad. As far as marks go, there's not too many, but it does have a a pretty bad spot out in the right field. Now, I do think that's one that will come off with a proper dip, so, or even possibly using a solvent, like coin care, to remove that. And I think that when that's done, this coin looks a lot better. But it's a little weakly struck. Notice how in the center of the coin we're losing the finger now. It's just blending in. Like on the more poorly struck versions of these coins, it's just going to be absolute mush in the center. That doesn't mean the coin's been worn, even though it may look like it. That's just literally not enough die pressure. So I think with the strike issue on that one, even if that spot comes off, it's probably capped at a 65. Alright, next coin. We have, overall, not bad. Strike's not bad. Looks like we do it with a full thumb. Not quite a full thumb, but close. A little bit of chatter in the right field, though. Kind of have to get it right at the angle, but it's definitely there. And there's also one of the rays of the sun has a pretty good little whack on it, too. So, again, probably a 64 quality coin. We don't really need to look at the reverse, because like I said, it's not going to help it. It's only going to hurt it, but pretty nice reverse. Lots of 3s and 4s. We're getting down to the end of the roll here. But this part of the fun is for the education for you folks who don't often get to see an original roll of Walking Liberties opened, and not something I actually see all that often either. It's 1945, not bad, but again, you've got a good bit of chatter out in the right field, and you have a reed mark above the first. You got the rightmost ray on the sun has a reed mark above it, and the back. You know, the back is the back. Most of them look pretty nice. Next coin. This one is quite not very nice. So we've got huge, once you start getting into some really heavy chatter like that, you're pushing MS62 before you know it. So this coin, I think, is probably capped at a 63 with that many marks out in the right field. And the back, especially, look at that on the eagle's wing there. On the eagle's right wing, we can see some pretty good marks there too. So that's probably the worst coin I've seen so far, which is not bad if, there's only one that's really like a 62 quality coin. Getting to the end of the roll here. And here we have finally another nice coin. We had a really bad stretch there, guys. But this one is all there. Little bit of marks on the sun there. We got a full thumb. Not too bad of a mark on the breast. And, of course, the key thing, and this is always where I look, is that right field. You got just one little mark there, but the right field's pretty clean. And does the back hurt us? That's the next question. It doesn't really hurt us too bad. There's some marks kind of above the eagle, but not bad. So I think that one's got a chance to 66. Don't know if it makes 67, but it does have a very clean obverse. So I would say that's the only shot 67 thus far. But we have at least one that's a shot 67. And actually here, the next coin this is pretty nice too. So we're now trending in the right direction, coming to the end of the roll here. Oops. Let you guys get a good look at this one. Not really too much to complain about here. Much cleaner than some of the ones we've been seeing. Decent strike. Not really any major marks in the obverse. Some very, very light chatter, but not bad. Now on the back, there is a mark above the eagle there. That's actually a die crack, though. It's not a scratch. So this is a pretty decent coin. Again, I don't know that it gets to a 67, which is where the real money starts, but that should 66. I think almost no doubt it's a good shot 66. We're getting down now to the last 4 coins. And we have one that's not quite as nice here. So quite a few reed marks, or at least, you know, good sized ticks that have some depth to them. And, you know, not a bad coin, but just you get a few of those deep ticks on there, and you're losing the grade pretty quick. So it's probably a 64 quality. Okay. Next coin. This coin's not too bad. We have some marks in the right field, but those brown spots will come off, I think, with a good proper dip. And the sun has a little bit of marking going on. Most of these have not had much annealing chatter. That's really good. But it's a pretty well-made issue. 45s do tend to come pretty nice. Now there are some dye lines out there in the right field. Notice it almost looks like there's some hairlines or some polishing going on. That's actually in the dye. And the reverse looks good. No issues there, so we don't have a reverse that's going to really hurt us. Okay. And we are to our end roll toner. We are at the end of the roll. And did we save the best for last? I don't know. They're a pretty nice coin, though. You know, very well struck. The thumb is pretty strong, and you got some toning, but not bad. You've got one little mark there just to the right of her arm. But everything else on this is pretty clean. So I don't know that it necessarily will make a 66 or 67. It could potentially get to 66. Yeah, I think it's a 66. It's pretty well struck, and there's absolutely minimal wear. And then the back of this coin, of course, this is the end roll tone, so it's going to be crustier than the other coins because of the oxidation. But it's not bad, and this coin is just so lustrous too. So that's it, folks. That was an original roll of Walking Liberty half dollars. So I hope you enjoyed going through that with me, and hopefully I was able to show some of the fun nuances of grading. And you know, I think it's going to be a decent roll. We'll see how it turns out, but I think there was probably 4 coins in there that were solid shot 66, and maybe 1 or 2 that were shot 67. There was only one coin that I thought was a low grade down at the 62 range. Most of them were 64 to 65 quality coins, or 63 to 65 quality. So, and, you know, I think this is an average roll, maybe a little better than average, and hopefully this will turn out better to grade this than to have sold the coins raw as basically a treasure hunt for whoever would buy it raw. So we'll see. Hopefully a couple of these grades hit, and definitely if you are interested in purchasing these coins and once they've been certified, please send me a message. I'm always collecting folks' need lists and want lists, and just always looking to serve my customers. So this again is Sam Schaefer with Sam Schaefer Numismatics. I'm located on Indianapolis northwest side. We moved recently. We're now at 9465 Counselors Row. That's ROW. And we serve the public 6 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. We are appointment only, but if you have coins, questions about coins, paper money, precious metals, we do it all, and we certainly continue to build a reputation as being one of the premier dealers in the city. So I'm very grateful for everyone. I wish everybody a Happy New Year, and I'll catch you on the next video.